What?
Poi poi na mori, poi na mori, poi na mori. Anay ka nang poi, pakuama, poi na mori, poi na mori, oh poi na mori, poi na mori. Anay ka nang poi, pakuama, poi na mori. Yay ka pupurei na tete kamuri. Oh anay ang moya ko kana. Inenay utalo kanay apon dede. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Anay ang poi pakuanga poi na mori. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Anay ang poi pakuanga poi na mori. Amay ka pupurei na tete kang mori. Oh, anay ang moya ko kana. Inenay utalo kanay apon dede. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Poi na mori. Anay ka nang poi pakuanga poi na mori. Poi na mori. the dawn of the world, just sitting around, just standing around. Salama! Oh! Kakite! Kakite! We were some Babylon.
Who knows? Who knows?
Vaya con todo eso. Careful, careful. Okay guys, thank you very much for spending the day with us today. We really enjoy it. May you have a journey to Puka Puka. Nassau the best!
My name is Tim Enka, that's what they know me by, but my real name is Te Ao Moana Enka. In my childhood, I've been raised here in Puka Puka, and my schooling years, I did that in Australia. And after my schooling, when that was completed, I came back to Puka Puka and stayed there for about 4 years. And yeah, that's where I've been pretty much my whole life till now. And I've just recently came here to Nassau since last year in August. So yeah, I've been here for about a year, and I've been coming back and forth, but I've been here, the longest I stayed here is about 1 year and a half. Holiday, I guess, I'll just see what life here is like. But since I stayed here for 1 year, it's pretty much the same as Puka Puka, but in some ways it's different, because back in Puka Puka it's more people, bigger population of about 500, around there. Whereas here in Nassau, we have a smaller population, about 70 to 90. Yeah, we currently have 78 people on the island. So yeah, and the difference I see is in Puka Puka, people are more independent, I guess. People are more independent because people want to succeed in their own ways, I guess. Whereas over here, smaller community, that means whatever we do as a whole community. So if we want to succeed, that means the whole community have to talk about something, like let's say a business, and it has to be from the whole community, not just from you. Us in the Cook Islands, there's 15 islands in the Cook Islands, but us here in Puka Puka and Nassau, we're different, I guess, unique in some ways, because our language is harder for the other islands, say for like Rarotongan in them, like Atiu, or the other outer islands. It's harder for them to understand our language, our dialect. But the words are sort of similar, but in some ways it's different. And it's harder for them to understand how we speak. But for them, when they speak, we understand them, because the Cook Islands Maori is, we all understand because it's based on the Bible. Our Cook Islands Bible is translated in Cook Islands Maori, whereas our Pukapukan language, we have our own dialect. So we can understand them, they can't understand us. That's the difference. And their way of, and their culture is sort of different to ours. In ways like the way they make their food is different to ours. The way we fish and our traditional methods of fishing is different to theirs. So yeah, in some ways I guess it's unique. For example, how we deep sea fish is different to theirs, because the tools that we use leaves of the mahogany tree. Yeah, we use that, and we use rocks to sink the bait all the way down to the bottom, and we put our bait and our chum. We put our chum into the leaf, and also the bait into the leaf, and we wrap it up and put it onto a rock and use the line, and we sink it to the bottom, and we have a way of tying it so we can untie it when it sinks to the bottom, and then we get the fish from the bottom of the. So yeah, whereas the outer islands, I think they have different methods, not the same as ours. Here, us in the northern groups, especially us, Nassau and Puka Puka, it's very hard for us to receive our goods from Raro. We get shipments varying from 2 months, 4 months, and 6 months. That's how long we get our shipments, our goods from Raro. It's very unfortunate for us, but it's not really, I guess, a problem for us. It's not much of a big problem for us, because we supply our own food. We've got our own crops. We grow taro. We have a lot of coconuts that provide for our cooking stuff here. And yeah, we've got heaps of plants, banana trees, and other crops that we depend on to provide for us when we don't have the boat, to provide us with sugar, rice, and all the other food from Raro. Well, we're really fortunate to receive the service from the Kwai, because most of the time they arrive here in Nassau and Puka Puka as the time that we lack the food that we need for our everyday life, things like sugar and rice, like I was saying. And it's very good for them to supply us with those sort of food, because then it gives us time to, within that 2 to 6 months, in that period we wait for our goods to receive to come from Raro, but instead we get the supplies from the Kwai. So we're very, very fortunate to have their service to provide us with all that good things like clothing, sugar, rice, just little things like snacks and all that. So yeah, they provide a good service for us. Yeah, it's different because the way they operate their goods is that we get to see what we're actually buying, and they bring all their goods onto shore, and then we get to pick what we want, what we need for our everyday life. So, and they bring in pretty good products that are necessary for our everyday lives. Yeah, things like deodorants, clothing, yeah, just everything that we need for everyday life. Yes, I like living on Nassau. It's free. It's an easygoing life. No need to wake up in the morning and go to work. Not having to stress paying bills and all that. So yeah, it's a good life. I guess it's the easygoing life. No stress, no worries. When you look at it, most of your life when you spend in, I guess looking at the lifestyles, the difference is with Australia and over here, it's a big difference. Like I was telling you before, with Australia, living over there is it's always depending on money. Everything's all about money, and that's not good, because when you're giving most of your time to work, and you're not actually living. I guess in some ways, you're not enjoying life. You're just a slave to the cycle of life. I guess in Australia, trying to pay bills and pay taxes. There's no freedom in their life. Whereas here in Nassau and Puka Puka, it's different. It's free, you're free. You get to wake up whenever you want, you get to do whatever you want, and no one's gonna come in and tell you, oh, you haven't paid your bills, you're gonna get your lights turned off. Everything is not dependent on money. Everything here is free, and you get to enjoy life. You're feeling hungry, you go and get your fishing rod, or you go to, and it's close, as you can see, the passage over here. If you got the tools to go fishing, you won't be hungry. So yeah, it's basically, it's a good life. Very different to the life in Australia. I got some common knowledge, just not a lot to elaborate to explain the whole thing, but I'll give you just basic knowledge of what I have. Back in the days, this island here, it was a reserve. Yeah, it was a copra plantation. They used this place that's how we get our income back in the days. We used to, provide copra for the tradespeople that used to come with their boats, and they take our copra, we get money. That was our income back in the days. But as you see, it's different. Now we're independent, we have a government, things are different now. As you can see now, you see some new houses that they built. Back in the days, people weren't allowed to live more than 2 years, I think. They used to always rotate some groups of people. Another group will come here for a certain amount of period of time. They would look after, plant the taros and everything, look after and clean it, and go back to the mainland, and another group will take over. It was like that. It was after the cyclone they saw it was, I guess they talked about the living conditions here on Nassau. It wasn't safe for people just to come here and build the kiko hut, like the traditional houses. It wasn't secure, it wasn't safe. When in times of like a hurricane or tsunami, it wasn't safe for them to, to find shelter in the traditional houses. So they gave permission for families that came here and looked after the island to build, like concrete houses to ensure safety, I guess, to the public. And that's when they decided that it was okay for people to actually stay on the island for good. Yeah, and now people have started building concrete houses. And till this day, people are allowed from Puka Puka. They can stay here, they can come and build wherever they want. The populations in Puka Puka and Nassau is constantly getting lower. As you can see, there's not a lot of us on the island due to, I guess, no opportunities with work. People wanting to better their lives, but that's not necessary. That's how I see it. It's not necessary. But I guess why they go out is to improve their lives. Not everyone goes out. Maybe, let's say, a family member will go out and they will go out and work for some money, and they'll send the money back to the island, and that's to help out the family with, like, let's say they want to build a house. They'll send one of the sons or the daughters to go and work out in Australia or NZ, and that they will provide for, for things like concrete or the roofing, all the materials that's needed to build a strong house, like a decent house to live in. That's the only reason why people migrate out to Australia and New Zealand. That's the idea, to better their lives, I guess, to build their houses and other things. Most of the time I talk like our language,
Yeah.
but in some way, like when a person talks English to me, like I want to, if I'm thinking of a word in English, but I just can't quite get it, but I think of it in our language. That's the trouble with me, like trying to get the word in English for the word that I'm thinking in our language. I've got a big family, and half of them are over here in Puka Puka and the other half in Australia and NZ. They're everywhere. As you can see, there's a boat there. That's due to a line that we had out just not far from the reef. That line there, we use it to as an anchorage. Like when we go out, we just tie our boat onto it and then we fish. But the boat came into the line and it got caught in the propeller, and that's why that boat there, that ship there, ended up in the passage. It came straight onto the reef, and now it's, yeah. Before the passage was made, or whatever, we used to just get the boats to come onto the reef. Like it has to be a really calm day, like when the ocean is calm. So if this side is unsafe to load, we go onto the other side. So it all depends on the wind. So like this day is pretty good, but yeah, it's dangerous though, getting the cargo onto shore by boat. There has to be a group of men that have to wait for the boat. As the boat is coming near to where the wave crashes onto the reef, they wait for the boat, and when the boat comes in, they grab the boat and drag it onto shore. Make sure the machine doesn't hit the reef. So it's pretty dangerous stuff.